What's going on, everybody? Eric Lindquist at Stochastic here on the Odd Shopper channel, coming to you with another edition of Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks NBA edition. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell goes a long way for me on this video, goes a long way for you. That way you become apprised whenever great content is going live here at our little neck of the YouTube woods. You can probably hear it. I'm a little congested, allergies, a little sick, not really feeling my absolute best, but well, Tuesday, I have all the time in all the land to rest because Monday, we have every team in action. Wednesday, we have every team in action. Make sure you vote. Make sure you do all that stuff on Tuesday because the NBA would like you to. I would also like you to. Plus, well, that's how democracy works. It's a great situation that we have here in America. Take advantage of it. And if you're overseas, well, thinking about you as well. Hopefully, you guys can enjoy your time just kicking it, twiddling your thumbs. We're going to be voting on Tuesday, or hopefully you already got your mail-in ballots in. Anyway, I feel like absolute garbage, as you can probably tell. But Bet365, they're never garbage. And, well, we were able to take advantage of a lot of numbers in the NFL streets here today. It was fantastic overall. Even though I feel like crap, I feel very happy knowing that I made a lot of people, including myself, a lot of money. Want to see it on your screen? Well, here's your opportunity. We had the Austin Eckler. Ended up firing that up for over a unit and a half. That is like, that's like extreme Hulk smash. And in fact, I had a 2-unit play on Austin Eckler last time around. The main reason this time that I didn't end up firing it for a full 2 units was Jaden Daniels was feeling a lot better. You saw he was pretty mobile last week, and still, we easily destroyed this number. He ended up taking 3 receptions, over the 19 and a half, way over. I believe it was like over 40 yards that he had entirely. So I'm very happy with that. We also hit all 4 of my rushing props. James Conner covered in the first half there of that afternoon slate. I was just like, oh, am I going to go 4 for 4 in that department? I am. And I did. Hopefully Michael Pittman can do something in this second half against my Vikings, but this game has been abysmal, so we're not even going to reference it, talk about it. I feel pretty good about this, and if you guys want to sign up and get everything I have in Tails for free, you can do so by signing up at one of these great sites. We have Pick'em on the left, Sportsbooks on the right. Would love to see you there. You can go to the link below, and when you sign up at any one of these, if you don't have access to them yet, and you sign up at one of them, you will get 1 free month of Lindy's Premium Tails package. There are 4 simple steps that you have to follow. It is super, super easy. You follow the promo, you sign up with the offer, you take a screenshot of the welcome email and first settled bet, and you email them to support@oddshopper.com. Would love to see you there, but I repeat, we have every single NBA team in action, so we're going to get ourselves rocking, rolling. Time to go. Producer Jacob, hi, hello. Happy Monday, everybody. Let's get to the picks. And our day begins. Milwaukee plus 7.5 taking on Cleveland here at this point in time. And got to tell you, it has been disappointing to watch. 5 in a row now? 5 in a row that we've seen Milwaukee lose. I don't know. My voice did that weird thing. Well, it's also because I feel like garbage. But Cleveland on the other side. Cleveland, this one's for you. No, Cleveland's just rolling over everybody here at the moment. It's been pretty insane to watch take place. And I got to say, I am pretty impressed by what they're doing, not just in the front court, where we've seen defensively Jared Allen and Evan Mobley continue to do thing after thing after thing. But we're now seeing some decent perimeter defense, all of the offense coming from the perimeter here. Donovan Mitchell. Karis LeVert is dinged up. I don't know if he ends up playing here in this one. My guess is probably no, but he's questionable with right knee soreness. We'll see. They'll have Tuesday off. Every team has Tuesday off. And then Wednesday, you could see some basketball going down yet again. But in this opener, I'm just leaning Milwaukee plus 7.5. I do think that that's a lot of points to be getting, considering Giannis and Damian Lillard are 2 parts of your team. This is a team that we were also expecting to be up in the upper echelon of the Eastern Conference. And it's such a small sample size. They're just getting the wheels turning. They're just getting going. I do not like their bench, similar to Denver in the Western Conference, but I'm still leaning their direction. I'm not going to fire it up. But if this gets to 8.5, we can start having a conversation. The total, perfectly efficient based on the pace that I'm putting in for them. I do think, though, the Bucks closer to like 6.5. And so 7.5, we're not going to do it at minus 110, but 8.5, we could pull the trigger. It's Washington. Come on now. Golden State, -9, going up against them here. Kyle Kuzma going to be out for this basketball game. And then also Malcolm Brogdon, still waiting to come back. He's going to probably not come back until the end of this month. Beginning of December is what it sounds like. Marvin Bagley, also questionable, which when you talk about how thin they are in that front court, it does make some sense. Jonas Valanciunas, why did they acquire him? Why Did they go and pay Jonas Valanciunas? I will never understand it. You won't either. He's a bottom 5th percentile defender in the NBA. He can garbage stat it up like nobody's business. But overall, this is not a very good basketball player. And then on the other side, the big questionable tag exists where if I knew he was playing, I would be locking this for sure. But it's Golden State -9 purely because we have a questionable Steph Curry. I don't see how you get away from this. Everybody else back. D'Anthony Melton, I guess he's still out, but they're going to play 11, 12 guys. Lindy Waters III apparently is good at basketball, Oklahoma's finest. And then Kyle Anderson, my guy from the Minnesota Timberwolves. Buddy Hield, knocking down threes ad nauseum. Top 5 in the NBA in three-pointers made so far. I don't see how we don't jam this against Washington if Steph were in, but something tells me that we won't know that until closer to tip, and I don't want to get held left holding the bag here on Washington, playing at home, having Golden State have to cover by 10 without Steph. So, half unit play, going to move on with that. The Lakers and Detroit up next here, 6.5-point favorites. The Lakers, Detroit on the other side of this one. And Anthony Davis has been pretty kind to us in our bankroll here in the early going of this season. I've only bet him twice, 2 for 2. Feel good about that kind of stuff, mainly because I think there's going to be certain matchups where Anthony Davis is going to shoot an extra 3 or 2. I think this is one of them with Jalen Duren on the other side of this one. Jalen Duren is a guy who over last year made us a ton of money. Haven't even been able to bet him yet this year because of how egregious these numbers are. Not just the double-double numbers, not just the rebound numbers, but points even have been very, very dicey. And it sucks because, well, we had an entire beginning of a season last year, like a month and a half, where we were able to take advantage, specifically opening night on the double-double, plus 250. Everybody will remember that, but I can't really do it at these kind of numbers with Jalen Duren. And Tobias Harris is kind of interesting, I will say. There are some interesting rebounds plus assist numbers. Want you, for if you're listening through this, to be able to understand that that's going to be something I really want to pay attention to. I think 8.5, the predominant number. I do like the over of that. A lot of unders I'm going to bet closer to first tip. So, just the tip, just to see how it feels. Anthony Davis, 25 plus points, though, 1+ three-pointer. The main reason, this guy is doing everything for this basketball team. And I think the threes can kind of buoy. If you're going to be getting like 28.5, 29.5 we saw against Toronto. If we're going to get those kind of numbers, I think adding the three-pointer to the single game parlay, either on FanDuel, Bet365, all of those great places. Again, Bet365, we'll talk about them here in 2 seconds. That's going to be where you want to be firing it up with that three-pointer that can be plus money from time to time. AD, I'm leaning this direction. Think I'm going to pull the trigger. Bet365, damn good find. Why don't you suck it to me one more time? Bet $5, get 200. I'm here. You go to the link below. You sign up at one of these great 11 states that are on your screen right now. That is including North Carolina. Come on, raise up. Take your shirt off. Twist it around your head. Spin it like a helicopter. 11 great states. Pennsylvania, the newest of the fray. Not the band, but the states that are on your screen. 11 states where you have an opportunity to sign up and get Bet365. Why do you want to do it? Well, they have some unbelievable deals. Now, Tuesday is Election Tuesday, so they won't have their major promotion going on Tuesday, but there are tons of reasons to get in there. Once again, go back to the home screen. Bet 5, get 200. Bet 5, get 200 in bonus bets. That's a ridiculous deal. It's only if you're 21 and over, 18 and over in Kentucky. If you have a gambling problem, please call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Back to the picks we go. If you don't know, honey, then why'd you just say so? Because I need this now more than I ever did. Jimmy Eat World. There you go. Jimmy Eat World for the people. Boston -10.5 for the people here sitting as well. Going up against Atlanta. Hot Atlanta. Well, they're not very hot. They're, in fact, kind of the opposite. Although, they just won a basketball game. Hey, congratulations. They won by 15 on the road. Now they come back home to host the best team in basketball. That can't be ideal, but they are 3-4. Shout out Atlanta for figuring out ways to win basketball games when it's bleaker than the midwinter. Yeah, it's not great. Not great at all. But I will say the main thing I want to point out is Onyeka Okongwu did not end up playing injury maintenance here on Sunday. I think we might see Capella sit. I think we might see Okongwu ramped up to 28 minutes, 30 minutes in some of these type of spots, or if they decide to rest a Capella, get a starting nod. Now, this is something you have to do on your own end, and this is just speculation to a certain extent, because that's kind of my job, is to speculate around the marketplace and to try to give you the best information I can based on how I've bet injury news in the past in a sport like NBA. Now, in MLB, Never really injury news that you're betting on, although you do get scratches from time to time and know which books end up having live value, no matter whether or not the starting pitcher is going to be the main person. Now, in NFL, even more difficult from time to time. You kind of want to be able to read the tea leaves earlier in the week and bet as soon as possible. I do my NFL videos on Friday, and hey, obviously that went pretty darn well here for week 9. But as I look in the NBA, I'm trying to speculate on injury stuff. In Atlanta, this is just kind of my commonplace for it. Jalen Johnson's been awesome for this basketball team. He got paid, by the way. Dyson Daniels came back, was a plus 21 tonight, 16 points, 5 boards, 3 assists, doing Dyson Daniels things. And to finish it all out, you had Trae Young, 23, 12, and 4. Again, 12 assists, that is. Normally you say the rebounds in the middle of it, but I didn't do that because he's a point guard. It is what it is. As I look at the board, though, you had Clint Capella only play 21 minutes. It seemed as though they wanted to limit his minutes to try to give him an opportunity to play on this back-to-back. And maybe he does, but at 21, 22 minutes, that's kind of what we've been routinely seeing from him anyway. So 26, the minimum. 28, the high side. I kind of like a deep shot at plus money, big plus money. Onyeka Okongwu, double-double. I'm going to revisit some of these numbers. It's only available at one book here at the moment. It's going to be a big plus number money. I'm not even going to throw out what that number is here at the moment because it's an offshore book, but I do think Okongwu is going to be an interesting back. I don't know, maybe points, maybe rebounds. Maybe there's a chance Capella sits. And Boston, yes, they're massive favorites here, but all the more reason if they go small ball Cornet type lineups like we just saw in that starting lineup, Horford out there as well, Okongwu fits this game way more than Capella does. For the first time ever, I'm rolling out my favorite single play of the entire slate as a lean lock. It is Memphis, minus 5.5, taking on Brooklyn here. And we'll say a couple of pieces of injury news, just kind of like round out everything here. We got Day'Ron Sharpe out. Ben Simmons out. Bojan Bogdanovic still out. And Trendon Watford out. I think Noah Clowney ends up getting the starting nod here. Dorian Finney-Smith, Cam Johnson, Cam Thomas, Dennis Schroeder. Kind of the typical guys everywhere else there. But Noah Clowney been kind of slipping into more minutes here. Nicholas Claxton is questionable here for this one. Not sure what they end up doing with him specifically, but I don't really care. We're going to be focusing here on the Memphis side of things. And I will say, there are super sharp people in the premium Discord at Tails, and that's what we'll talk about here in a second. But at Tails, people are throwing out bets to me all the time, asking me, hey, Eric, what do you think about this? Hey, Eric, what do you think about that? Does this number make sense? And sometimes lines, because they're always moving, they're evolving, they're constantly asking me about stuff that has changed numbers. Now, one got thrown across to me from Scotch the Cat, which, by the way, spent some time with in New York. Again, shout out. She's one of the smartest, sharpest people that you could possibly imagine there in the whole sports betting space. And I'm very lucky to have her losing to a girl. A lot of these different people in our premium Discord and have been for a long time. Good, dear friends of mine, mostly in virtual reality, but also in real life. Nice to be able to meet them and kick it with them. That'd be weird to kick them. Anywho, Memphis, she threw across to me. John Morant, Eric, is just constantly a wagon. I've been betting him every single day. I've been jamming his assist props. He's at 8.5 plus money against Philly. What do you think about it? I ran it. I did a number of different things with it. Took a look at it, reran it again. Everything seemed pretty efficient, but there's one thing that I kind of failed to really realize, and that's with Marcus Smart and Desmond Bane off the floor, all ball handling responsibilities are going to go through John Morant. In fact, they really don't have another primary ball handler in this starting unit. And then on the second unit, you have Scottie Pippen, and him and John Morant have had a great two-man game together here over the course of the last couple. I've been very impressed by this team on the aggregate. Really enjoyed watching Memphis, where Jaren Jackson Jr. becoming more of a prominent part. Maybe we can start to see his minutes ramped up sooner rather than later. But overall, John Morant, this is a guy that I do not have numbers for right now, but I can tell you already, 9.5 around minus 110 or inside of it is kind of what I'm predicting against Brooklyn. Now, Brooklyn not playing up in pace by any means whatsoever, but defensively, not adding a whole lot to the portfolio. And you look at Brooklyn and you rerun some of their stuff on the defensive end. Well, they're 28th in adjusted defensive rating in my model, 26th on dunks and threes. And as such, Man, should there be efficient looks and shots. And you get Jay Huff more minutes for him. He's a perimeter shooter, somebody that can definitely knock him down there at the center position. Brandon Clark been playing fewer and fewer minutes because they kind of like what they have with him now. John Contra should be out, but Jake LaRavia can knock down shots. Santi Aldama can knock down shots. Jalen Wells might be a sneaky dude to keep knocking down shots. My favorite play of the entire slate is going to be 10 plus assists for John Morant. I think we're going to be getting close to that even money or better on this number. And I very, very rarely put a lean like on the board, let alone a lean lock. I've never actually done that. And well, happy to have it be the first time. I haven't bet this yet. That's why it has the lean portion to it. But I want you to know how bullish I am on this against Dennis Schroeder, Cam Thomas, and this whole front court. John Morant should get whatever he wants and open up whatever he wants for his team. As I said before, if you guys want to jump in for free and get every single NBA pick, all of them, confirmed plays, ask me questions, do whatever you want in that Discord, check out Eric's Tales package for free. You go to the Pick'em side on the left. You go to the Sportsbook side on the right. If you have access to anything here where you can potentially get a new site onto your repertoire, well, you can get one free month of me as well. You can jump into Tales completely free. You go to the link below. There are 4 simple steps that you have to follow in order to take advantage of it. Find the promo. Sign up using the promo. Take advantage of all of those deposit bonuses, by the way. Number 3, take screenshots of the welcome email and first settle bet. And then support at oddshopper.com. That is where you send those screenshots and you get me for a month for free. I would love to see you there. It's been awesome. A lot of people have been taking advantage of this. I hope you can be one of them as well. Again, simple steps on your screen. Don't want it to be complicated. Want you to take advantage of awesome opportunities, and would love to see you there asking questions, getting all of my bets for Monday's massive NBA card. Alrighty, y'all, back to the picks. All right, we got the lock out of the way. Again, it's a lean lock, which is just absolutely insane. Never done that before. First time for everything, though. Not going to be a first time I'm looking at this. Sacramento and Miami. Miami goes to Mexico City. They play one of the worst basketball games I've ever watched in my entire life. Producer Jacob, did you watch it? He didn't even watch it. He's the biggest NBA fan I know. The guy doesn't want to do my MLB videos, doesn't want to do my NFL videos, but he loves NBA, wants to talk about NBA forever. Almost just exhausting. God, Eric. Jacob, shut up about the NBA. But even he did not watch Miami and Washington. And I think that had more to do with Washington, did it not? Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, no, he did. They fucking suck. Anyway, Sacramento, Miami here in this one. I'm looking at Terry Rozier. This is kind of an interesting one. Jimmy Butler, there was a lot of data to go and support the fact that he doesn't really give a flying you-know-what. I don't know. I already said fuck, so I could probably say it again. He doesn't care whatsoever about the regular season at all. And that is starting to become even more of a fact here this season. In fact, Jimmy Butler is just not one of those guys whatsoever that you want to be backing in terms of like regular season basketball, because he just will find ways to disappoint you. And it's kind of a shocking phenomenon because I kind of like Jimmy Butler as a person. I don't know. He dated like the super hot version of Selena Gomez once upon a time. She's still lovely. Seems very rich and happy. But Jimmy Butler, the guy's averaging just 17, 5.5. Jimmy Butler's a lot better than that, but he's letting Jaime Jaquez, Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo, who just smashed the souls of Washington last time out. 31 minutes, 32, 14, and 2? That seems good, just throwing it out there. But Terry Rozier is the other guy that I really want to be paying attention to here. And you get a Sacramento team that's pretty weak, I think, in the front court. You got De'Aaron Fox, not really all that interested in the defensive things that you have to do in life. And then Keon Ellis. He's been playing more, but Kevin Huerter should be back for this one. He was ill. He didn't play last time out there up in Toronto, but now they're going back to Miami. I do think we definitely have an opportunity for Terry Rozier, 15.5 points to be a play. However, it's only been introduced on 3 books as of right now. It's minus 20 best available. I want minus 110 on that. If I can get minus 110, I don't care where that is going to exist, but even like pick'em sites, if you're playing 3 pick cards on Underdog, that's going to be inside of the minus 120 number, and it's sitting at 15.5 right now, which, again, I'm not going to play it at minus 120. Some people are like, oh, who really cares about the juice? Or you're going to parlay it with other stuff. Trust me, we need to be price sensitive this early in the season, especially with 15 games on the entire slate today. Let's just make this a lean for now. We'll readdress it in the morning, see where some of these other odds open up at. Yeah, see, we have some other likes coming your way here. Utah at Chicago. I really like this one. And you know what? I'm looking at all of my spreads here. We have Golden State on the card at -9, which again, I think is pretty decent. We have another spread showing up and another favorite right here that I kind of like. Utah. You have Lauri Markkanen questionable. I don't know what we're going to get out of Lauri Markkanen. All I know is that anytime that I have turned on League Pass on this here iPad and watched Utah play basketball, wanted to gouge my eyes out. It's been horrendous. 0-6 now on the season. And Keontae George talked about it the other night. He goes like 1 for 9 from 3 to not go over his PRA. And I'm just still upset about it. But this might be the worst constructed basketball team in all of the land. Now, part of that is that Lauri Markkanen is their best player. He's been out. He was able to handle a lot of the issues that we had. I mean, look at Cleveland, 7-0, Milwaukee, 1-5. It's a fickle league. And when you're not Boston, 6-1, when you're not OKC, undefeated, when you're not one of those elite teams right now, you're going to get steamrolled against the league when you don't have your best player. That's just kind of the way that it works. But Utah, oh my God, have they been somehow even worse than what I was imagining them coming into this season. Now, Jordan Clarkson, also going to be out for this one. Pretty thin in the in the backcourt, that is. With Keontae George, Colin Sexton, he should be good to go here in this one. Got dinged up a little bit last time out. They have Patty Mills coming off the bench. I don't know why. Johnny Juzang was the best player on the floor against Denver if you watch that game. It was absurd that Johnny Juzang, shout out UCLA. I don't really understand how, but, well, that's what it is. And I'm not a Bulls fan. And some people kind of get misconstrued. It's like, oh, you back the Bulls here. Oh, you backed whomever here. It's all relative to who they're playing. It's all relative to the information I have. I have this closer to 8, and that's going to make me on the Chicago side of things. I'm not a huge fan of it because, well, Chicago fucking sucks too. But Zach LaVine, he's questionable for this one. Even if he ends up out, we have Jalen Smith, who's a decent enough rotation piece behind Patrick Williams, Nikola Vucevic, however they want to utilize it. Taylor Horton-Tucker, Chris Duarte, Ayo Dosunmu, Torrey Craig. I like a lot of pieces. Even when they get into those shuffle situations, they haven't utilized THT, Dynamite, or Chris Duarte yet, but they have a decent enough bench here where even where it gets to like the 10, the 9, the 8, or whatever in the last 2-3 minutes, I think you're still seeing Chicago with way better pieces on the floor than Utah does. And sometimes you need to handicap that purely because, again, 10-point game, 2 minutes to go, kind of a likely outcome. So Chicago -6.5, I like it. We got it all, friends. We ended up cashing those tickets, and that was a big deal to me because I did not have a great NBA Friday overall. And Karl Anthony Towns getting to 21-11 despite the absolute annihilation against Detroit was a huge deal to me. And I think that helped me carry over the momentum into Sunday for NFL Sunday, which was one of my best NFL Sundays of the year. Real ones know. Fake ones don't really care. They're going to just troll in the bottom bar and just say, Tony Pollard didn't score. That's legitimately the only thing that I got wrong the entire day on Sunday. Unless Michael Pittman just decides to do nothing in the second half against my Vikings. But Karl Anthony Towns, it's been on the card a lot. I bet it instantly. I don't know what to tell you. He only played 27 minutes there against Detroit. If he had played 37, which is going to be more of the norm when you have a guy like, I don't know, Tom Thibodeau, who has no regard for humanity, out there playing him eternal minutes, that's going to be more his style. And you got that James Dean daydream look in your eye, and I got that red lip classic thing that you like, and we're going to bet Karl Anthony Towns just about every time because he never goes out of style. He never goes out of style. Taylor Swift. All right, we'll make it move a little bit faster here. What, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games to go. Oh, good Lord almighty. Charlotte, Minnesota. Haven't bet this one yet, but I'm going to talk about it super, super quickly. We have tons of injury news. Brandon Miller, questionable. Rudy Gobert, questionable. Rudy Gobert has not been questionable on an injury report all year. You go back to last year, he was questionable a lot, and he played through almost all of those tags. But one thing that gives me hope that this changes is Nick Richards is out on the Charlotte side. So Grant Williams could be your starting center. Maybe the Timberwolves just say, hey, Rudy Gobert, take the night off. And we should probably be paying very close attention to Naz Reid props. I'm going to see when Naz Reid props drop. They are currently not available in the marketplace. But even with Rudy out or Rudy in, I think there's a case to be made where Grant Williams, if he's going to be your starting center on the other side, you should just jam Naz Reid. You should just jam the guy who potentially could be on the floor even more. Because if Grant Williams is actually knocking down shots, which we've seen, intermittently in his Boston/Dallas days, Charlotte, tail end of last year, he actually had some moments. But Grant Williams is a guy that I think Rudy Gobert, Probably doesn't want to deal with too much on the perimeter, even though not a great shooter by any means, but a willing shooter, if you will. And that's where I think we want to be looking at the Naz Reid props. But I'm actually also looking at Julius Randle props because there's ways that he ends up playing the 5, guarding Grant Williams. You have Miles Bridges on Naz Reid. You have different formations, different situations where we could take advantage of some injury news and take advantage of how these rotations are going to play out. And Julius Randle, he hasn't been shooting as many threes as times where he was with the New York Knicks and doing his thing, but 1.5 threes is plus 126 right now. And I reran this a couple of times because I was very, very curious when I simmed it out 10,000 times. I have this closer to being plus 118. Now, it's playable right now if you really want it, but I'm not going to go lean like, because there's so many props that I'm sure are going to show up tomorrow. Again, that's another reason to be on Tails, hanging out with me there. But 1.5 threes plus 126 at DK. I think it's serviceable right now, but you go through his threes. He's only attempted 24 now, 24 through 6 games. Math tells me that's 4. He'd have to shoot 50% to go over 1.5 at plus 126. I think we have to see him attempt more and more and more. Part of the help there could be, playing more minutes, potentially having small ball lineups, having ways where Naz Reid is guarded by some of the other guys, Miles Bridges specifically. And Julius Randle should look okay at this number, but haven't bet it yet. It's a thinner play on this slate. Orlando and OKC, and I got to say, it is brutal because I really liked Orlando, and I almost, it's probably something that happens once every 3-4 months or so, where I just kind of throw all caution to the wind. I say, bet Orlando to win Eastern Conference Finals, especially if it's a game that doesn't have odds out yet, or something that I can't really sim with, knowledge of who's going to be in the rotation. However, I know Paolo Banchero isn't going to be in the rotation right now, and that is the big issue I have with Orlando. I almost bet them after the first week of the season to win the Eastern Conference, because I thought defensively they looked that good. I thought Paolo Banchero looked that advanced. In fact, in my modeling, I have him in the 99th percentile. Well, there's only 100 percentiles, and Jordan Addison, what a catch. Oh my God, I love you so much. It's a touchdown. It's cool. Anyway, Orlando plus 11.5 here. The reason that is such a massive number is Cleveland's got the defense, or OKC's got the defense on the other side. Sorry, Cleveland, OKC. I'm putting them in the same bucket. You've got OKC winning every single game going out there. They're 6-0. You have Cleveland 7-0. We just saw Cleveland and Orlando play on Friday night. That's what I was kind of thinking in the back of my head. But the whole point here is that OKC is really, really good. And we're going to see them smack a lot of teams around. And then their bench is pretty deep. They've got some guys, whether they start Wiggins or the Aaron Wiggins, that is, Isaiah Joe, however it ends up working out, they have 5 of the top 15 defensive lineups in the NBA right now. And that's just simply like a 1-for-1 swap in where it's Joe or Wiggins or whomever else you end up having switch in. In fact, Ousmane Dieng is one of the guys that is looking really good off the bench here from OKC. They don't even need to play 35 minutes of a guy like Chet Holmgren. They're just going to put their team in bubble wrap sooner rather than later. Probably going to be the 1 seed in the West. Probably going to be the best team, talking about it, out of the West when we come to playoff time. But as of right now, I'll just lean on the 11.5 here against Orlando. Jalen Suggs over 2.5 threes. Been on the card quite a bit. It's been plus money routinely. Against OKC and their defense, I'm probably going to sit that one out. 5 games to go. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell. I'll try to make this under 35. Portland, New Orleans. Tons of injury news that's going to exist in this one. In fact, New Orleans just got done playing basketball. Zion Williamson sat out. He's going to be questionable with a right hamstring injury here in this one. Do you get Jordan Hawkins dance in my khaki pants? There's nothing better. Playing on this back-to-back. I don't know. You don't know. Yves Missi has been playing here as the starting center for the last couple games. New Orleans going to some interesting lineups where Jose Alvarado has to be starting it off. But I'm going to be looking at Scoot Henderson here on the other side of this one with New Orleans on a back-to-back here. And Alvarado, he's kind of like a try-hard dude. You're going to see off of the bench Scoot Henderson, who's looked a little bit better to me, which isn't that hard considering I thought he was the worst rookie I'd ever seen for like a top 5 pick, maybe ever, based on what we saw last year. Had some of the worst defensive efficiency numbers, even though I think he's going to be a really good defender in the NBA based on some of the things that he did. He's still got a little bit of a foul problem. Started to sort it out against OKC and Phoenix. Phoenix more so was more impressive because the OKC game was never remotely close at any point. But against Phoenix, found ways to keep his hands to himself. Didn't play a lot of minutes. I'm a little bit worried about it, but that's going to also give us some nice odds, I think, when you're looking at 15 plus points and Portland money line as a dog Portland should be a dog in this one. Let me actually pull up my efficient number here for the people. I hate doing this because, again, I don't want to be made a fool of when I pull up the numbers here tomorrow. But I've got this as New Orleans 6-point favorites. So take that for what you will. Take that how you want it. We don't have any numbers from it yet, but if you're listening to me on Monday morning, pay attention to this. Portland money line should be nice, like nearly plus 225, plus 250 type numbers. This is super straightforward. Indy and Dallas. Indy, lots of pieces that have been in and out and in and out and don't know what. But Aaron Nesmith is going to be out for this one. Andrew Nembhard, he's going to be questionable. I doubt he ends up playing. It's been left knee soreness, and he was so bad through the first 3-4 minutes of that last start. Oh, it's 2 or 3 of their games ago. You saw them end up, Rick Carlisle just pulled him out of the game and said, yo, you're not playing again here. And they ended up going to Ben Shepherd. And Ben Shepherd's been really, really nice for them in the last couple of relief duty pieces. Jarris Walker, another guy that's all right. However, Isaiah Jackson ends up tearing his Achilles, I believe it was. It says right calf injury. I'm pretty sure that was his Achilles for what it's worth. That's going to be pretty thin there in the front court. That is problematic for them, but not necessarily against Dallas. Derek Lively, the second, he's the guy who will play the brunt end of the center minutes. And then, of course, Daniel Gafford, who we've talked about, he ended up having a little bit of a ding-up situation here today. I think he's going to be all right, though, to go in this one, and that makes me excited about Dallas minus 4.5. It's an Indy team that has gotten thinner in the front court. Dallas, defensively in the front court, pretty decent with P.J. Washington and Mr. Derek Lively, the second. I feel pretty good about Dallas here, even on a back-to-back, and as such, well, I bet it, so join me. Another thing I bet, Toronto at Denver. This is going to be very, very quick. Aaron Gordon. I just want to talk about these minutes because these minutes are getting a little bit out of control, and it's going to look, a little bit better considering they just got to take on Utah, a team that is not very good. But look at this bench. They don't have any options to really go to. You have Jamal Murray, who is going to be out. Russell Westbrook got the start last time out. You're going to get Aaron Gordon here, who is probable for Monday's game. I know that he had some kind of a calf injury himself, but Vlatko Kensar, he is doubtful here for Monday, and that is going to lead to more minutes for Hunter Tyson. That's a real person I just threw out there. Dario Saric, who's playing backup center minutes. Peyton Watson and Julian Strawthard. None of these guys have played over 24 minutes at a game this entire season, and as such, starters minutes going through the moon. Knocks in the moon. Haven't done that one yet this year. Shout out to Mummy Returns. But Toronto on the other side of this one. You've got Emmanuel Quickly, still going to be doubtful for this. Kelly Olynyk still out. Bruce Brown still out. Scotty Barnes, with that eye deal, he got stabbed in the eye. That sucks. Still going to be out here as well. I like Aaron Gordon for rebounds. Aaron Gordon, Officer Gordon himself. The guy is averaging 7.8 rebounds per game, and we are getting plus 120 on over 6.5. How is that a thing? I know it's small sample size, but the minutes have gone up for every single starter for Denver, and yet we're getting this kind of a reaction to it? I don't quite understand these numbers. Give me plus 120 on 6.5 rebounds without even thinking twice. It's awfully very, very nice. Come on. God, the Vikings are pissing me off. You don't care about that. I don't care about it either. Phoenix, they're going to be hosting Philly here in this one. 6-point dogs are they. Welcome back to the party, Paul George. Now, he's also still listed as questionable, although, no, he's off the injury report. I just refreshed NBA.com. If you guys don't know where I'm getting injury reports from, go to NBA.com. You can look at the tail end of the evening. You can also go to Twitter and just type in the person's name. You're generally going to have the beat reporters be one of the first people that pop up there. People like myself who are liking the tweets. Have some Twitter lists that are thrown together too as well, or X lists. I guess Elon would be mad if I called it as such. How about Paul George being fine to go and playing mid-30s minutes right from the get-go? I don't know. You don't know either. And that's where I think single-game parlays can capture upside. Let me explain. If there's a player that's been out for a long period of time and you combine 3-pointers with points, you're getting a little bit of a boost. And we've been doing that with people who are healthy from time to time if the numbers are right. Very rarely here over the course of the first 2 weeks of the NBA season. But I think this is a prime example of if this game is competitive, if Paul George is healthier than we think, there's value in the marketplace. And you can take 17.5 points, combine it with 2.5 threes, you're going to be getting nice plus money that's pushing plus 180, plus 170. Now, books have tried to clamp down on the combination type bets like this, where it's like, hey, Paul George gets to 17.5 points. There's a lot of those situations where he gets to 18, 19, 20 points, where he's hitting 3, 4, 5 threes. Well, duh. That's the whole point of me doing it. But I think you're going to be getting something close to plus 170, plus 180 here as we get to the flip. And I kind of want to wait on some other pieces of news here. Specifically, Joel Embiid is going to continue to be out, but Bradley Beal on the other side, he's questionable. I think there's ways that I can combine this ticket with Kevin Durant or Devin Booker, like we just saw the other night. Because 2 games ago, you saw Bradley Beal sit out with the elbow injury last game he played. Maybe this is one where they give him a little bit of rest. As favorites, you have Devin Booker, Kevin Durant carry more of the load. They get the Tuesday off, and you bring Bradley Beal back on Wednesday. There's something there. I'm going to toy with it a little bit more. And our last game of the evening, San Antonio taking on the Clippers. James Harden. Don't know what to tell you, but he's at 23.5 points going up against Chris Paul and company. Now, Chris Paul used to be a major part of these Clippers. Him and James Harden, they don't really have any ill will together here. They weren't at OKC at the same time. Chris Paul's never been to Brooklyn, I don't think. Maybe played a basketball game or two, or 50. He's been in the league for 50 years. But San Antonio here, I do think you're going to get Devin Vassell back sooner rather than later. It will be sometime this week, I think. I've got him projected for Thursday. We'll see. They haven't officially given us word, but I'm always tracking these specific players here and there. And then Trey Jones should come back next week, which should be interesting. Might be looking at some Chris Paul unders like night before or something, because I think Trey Jones might come out from the clouds and not be as prominent of an injury piece. Now, Vika Zubac, he was a wagon to start off the season. We kind of leaned off the last couple of starts here because, well, his numbers are now 29.5 PRA, 30.5 PRA, 28.5 PRA, 29.5 PRA. It's just a disaster. James Harden, 23.5 points. Like myself, the under. He's got to be a distributor for this team. They're 4.5 point favorites, which is kind of weird to me, kind of leaning towards the San Antonio side of that. But the only thing I've bet so far, minus 110, James Harden, under 23.5 points. If it's mainly star players or guys who have a ton of usage, I can tell you most of these numbers are inflated. 217.5. That one is having me jam this under, but I'm only going to take it for a half unit. I feel pretty good. And that does it for an NBA edition of 15-game edition of Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks in the NBA streets. Head to the comment section below. Check out NFL Lindy's as well. Would really appreciate that for Monday night. We're going to get ourselves the heck up out of here Tuesday. Make sure you vote. Make sure you do your due diligence if you're here in the States. And if you're not, well, enjoy just twaddling your thumbs. There will be no NBA video on Tuesday because nobody is playing basketball. Tuesday night there will be for Wednesday because everybody will be playing basketball. Thank you, producer Jacob. Until next time, friends, I'm Eric Lindquist. Best of luck in the NBA streets on Monday.